This is me back in November when the Braves hired Walt Weiss as their next manager. I was initially disappointed they didn't go externally with someone who could challenge the Braves' way, but once I saw the new coaching staff, it became apparent that this was the right move. But would it actually work? Well, after the Braves played their first 40 games of the season, they found themselves at 27-13 with the best record in baseball, leading the league in a billion different categories. And after seeing the ways that Walt has guided a team to such a tremendous start, it's painfully obvious that Alex Anthopoulos and the front office do indeed know what they're doing. I remember the start of spring training so clearly. Kim and Murphy were already on the shelf to start spring training. Schwellenbach and Waldrop went down with elbow injuries. Then Wentz tore his ACL. Then Jerks and Profar got popped for PEDs, again, like an idiot. The sky was falling and the Braves wouldn't win more than 70 games. Here we go with the injuries, yada, yada, yada. No, not this time. As we made our way through spring training, we saw the Braves play a style of baseball that was, as Walt described in his introductory presser, aggressive. Not reckless, but aggressive. It wasn't necessarily the regulars like Olsen and Riley popping 10-plus homers in that month of games. It wasn't Baldwin hitting every ball off the batter's eye, though it definitely seemed like it. It was just relentless. They were hitting for average, hitting for power, stealing bases, pitching well. Every single piece that Alex and Walt brought into the fold seemed to contribute, and that carried right into the first series of the year. Yep, this was Walt's first lineup card on opening day against the Royals. Ronald Acuna Jr. leading off, Baldwin in the 2-hole, and Ozzie Albies hitting third? What is Walt thinking? Well, apparently, he was thinking Ozzie was going to pop this ball over the wall to get the party started for the Braves in 2026 because that's exactly what happened. Ozzie, in his career hitting right-handed, came into 2026 sporting north of an 850 OPS. That's pretty solid, I would say. Baldwin and Harris also added homers on opening day just to remind the world that the Braves still exist. Sale went 6 shutout innings because, of course he did, and the bullpen didn't let anyone score. A shutout for game 1 feels like a good way to get the ball rolling. But the second game of the season is where we all saw something different about this team. It wasn't the offense being anemic against Seth Lugo and the Royals pitching staff. It was staring down the 2025 Major League leader in saves in Carlos Estevez and not blinking an eye. Walks, base hits, a comebacker off the pitcher not only tied the game, a game where the Braves were shut out going into the 9th, but also brought up Dominic Smith with the winning run at third. A fly ball to medium depth in the outfield would have done the job. Not for Dom Smith. Not for a guy who, unbeknownst to the world at the time, had just lost his mother to breast cancer. Smith hit an absolute tank into the chop house to send the 40,000 plus at Truist Park home happy on a Saturday night. What a moment for a guy who just endured the biggest heartache in the world. From there, it was just more of the same Braves baseball we saw in spring training. I can't remember where I read it, but I think Walt said something along the lines of wanting teams to feel exhausted, emotionally and physically, after playing the Braves. It's definitely felt like that so far. And then, well, the first road trip happened. Anaheim happened. It wasn't anything crazy, just another Tuesday night game in early April. Jorge Soler's career numbers against that night's starter for the Braves, Reynaldo Lopez, are video game numbers. Soler takes him deep first time up, gets hit by a pitch his second time up, and in his third AB, Lopez's first pitch sails out of his hand and way over Soler's head. So of course, we were about to have some major differences, as Ben Ingram put it on the radio broadcast. And so, a very straightforward brawl breaks out. Not just a, hey, I don't like how this guy's pitching kind of brawl. This was this hitter absolutely owns the pitcher throws near the hitter in a way that maybe looks intentional, and we're gonna fight. That's the kind of fight it was. And so when 6'4", 235-pound Soler charges 6'1", 215-pound Lopez, who gets in the way and tackles Soler? Braves manager, 62-year-old Walt Weiss. My manager. So far in 2026, the Braves have continued to play complementary baseball in all phases. They're hitting for power thanks to Olsen and Baldwin and Harris and Albies. They're hitting for average thanks to Olsen and Baldwin and Harris and Albies. They're playing good defense thanks to super utility man Mauricio Dubon, who has played left, center, short, and third so far in 2026, and looks to be headed back to left field for a good while now that Ha-Seong Kim is back from a broken finger. And while they won't be at full strength until later in the season, whatever full strength really means, you have to be encouraged by what they've done so far. They swept the Phillies in Philadelphia, they won a series at Dodger Stadium for the first time since 2023, and for just the second time since 2013. They've won a few blowouts and a few close games. They've beaten some good teams and some less than good teams. They've done it at the plate. They've done it on the mound. And my personal favorite part of all of this is Walt's fearlessness. He's pulled pitchers at the first sign of danger in the right situation, and he's kept low leverage relievers in games in the hopes they'd keep it close. Now, sometimes it's worked, and sometimes it hasn't. He's emptied the bench in both close games and blowouts. He's gotten the team to buy into that kind of approach, a team approach. The boys are playing with a sort of togetherness that you don't see in every clubhouse in the bigs, and that is all down to the man at the helm. Turns out the Braves didn't need someone to challenge the Braves way after 2024 and 2025. They didn't need a wholesale rebuild. They needed a no-nonsense manager who wasn't going to micromanage, but who also wasn't going to shy away from telling players why they were playing or why they weren't. Take this outing against the Marlins by Holmes. Just 59 pitches into the day, and Holmes gets pulled against the Marlins. Why? In Weiss's own words, it was because Holmes threw 99 high-stress pitches in the Anaheim Sun the week before, and trying to get the most out of a starter who already missed half of 2025 with an elbow injury just isn't a good move in the short term or the long run. Logical, well thought out, and certainly not a personally targeted decision. That's Walt. Sometimes it's not a wholesale change or even a philosophical change, just a minor tweak here and there. And also, frankly, just a kick in the rear by some of the players. Weiss and the players won't say who exactly, but you can imagine some of the longer tenured Braves like Ozzie Albies and Matt Olson let the rest of the room know in spring training that there is a standard in this organization, and 2025 can't be allowed to happen again. Injuries notwithstanding, of course. The Braves way is real, and it doesn't need a challenge, just a refresher on what it is. Of course, the play on the field since the start of the season has been led by Atlanta native Matt Olson. He's living the dream that so many of us had growing up in Atlanta: to suit up and play for the Braves, and to be the best player on the team, at least so far. There's a lot of ball left to go, and there will be slumps for everyone. It's just the nature of the beast. But to see Olson post numbers like he has done so far is nothing but encouraging as we head into the middle of the season. Drake Baldwin has been as good as he was in his Rookie of the Year season, if not better. Albies and Harris, two major disappointments from a year ago, have been among the top 25 most productive players in baseball. The pitching staff has been a pleasant surprise outside of Chris Sale, and the bullpen has been nails. And all of this is happening while Acuna and Riley really haven't gotten it going yet. But nothing in the first quarter of the 2026 season could compare to the organizational heartbreak of losing Ted Turner and Bobby Cox within a few days of each other. Without Bobby, there is no Braves way. And without Ted Turner, there's no TBS and no nationally broadcast Braves games. The outpouring of love for Bobby has been nonstop since he passed on May 9th, and I'm frankly having a hard time recording this without tearing up. Bobby was the Braves way, plain and simple. He's the reason they won 14 straight division titles. He's the reason the likes of Chipper Jones and Smoltz were here with the Braves basically their whole careers. He stood up for his players more than they ever would or could defend themselves, and only 3 men in the history of Major League Baseball have recorded more wins as a manager. He embodied consistency, longevity, leadership, and everything that comes with our understanding of the Atlanta Braves today. Walt Weiss has the Braves where Bobby expected them to be. At the top, competing with the best of the best. That, in short, is the Braves way.